Welcome, fellow learners. Ever, uh, ever stop to think about those amazing luxury safari pictures you
Uh,
see?
the ones with the stunning landscapes, the wildlife.
Exactly. And these incredibly fancy lodges, infinity pools, the whole deal. It looks breathtaking.
It really does. And the story usually sold with it is that it's, well, high-value, low-impact tourism.
Right. Like it's a win-win situation. Good for conservation, good for local economies. But what if that's not quite the full picture?
What if it's more complicated? Maybe even a bit unsettling.
Precisely. Today, we're doing a deep dive into just that. We've got some really interesting research highlighted in the Daily Nation from the University of Manchester.
Ah, yes, that study. It really challenges the usual narrative around luxury tourism in Africa.
It does. So our mission today is to unpack these sources and figure out, does this high-end travel actually benefit the communities living there?
It's a critical question
Mhm.
because what's really striking is how that shiny image of luxury tourism often clashes pretty hard with the reality on the ground for many people. The Manchester research, it was published in the African Studies Review, it really forces a bit of a rethink.
How so?
Well, it suggests that for some African countries, all the effort put in to attracting this specific kind of tourism has actually brought pretty limited benefits locally.
Limited benefits, or worse.
Sometimes worse, yeah. The research says it can even cause more harm than good in certain situations.
Yeah.
It really makes you question those long-held assumptions.
Okay, let's talk about that phrase then. High value, low impact. It's become such a buzzword, hasn't it?
Definitely. Governments really latch onto it.
And the idea sounds great on paper. You get fewer tourists, but they're wealthier, they spend more.
So maximum revenue, minimum footprint, environmentally, culturally. That's the pitch.
It promises this, like, perfect balance. Economic growth, ecological protection, local uplift, all without overwhelming things.
Exactly. That's the goal, the aspiration. Many governments see it as the sustainable path forward, avoiding the problems of mass tourism.
Degrading sites, diluting culture.
Right. And Africa is attractive. Business travel, leisure travel are up. Airlines are adding routes.
So the sector looks like it's booming.
From that big picture view, yes.
Hmm?
But this research asks, does that promise actually hold up when you zoom in?
And the answer is
Often, no. The benefits aren't always trickling down to where they're needed most. The study flat out says that high-value, low-impact claim is, quote, not always the case.
wow, and can actually cause more harm than good. That's a strong statement.
It is. It's a direct contradiction to the stated goals, not just a small hiccup.
Okay, so if the promise isn't quite matching the reality, where's the breakdown? If the money isn't helping local communities much, where is it going?
That's a million-dollar question, isn't it? And the sources point to some very specific ways the money sort of leaks out.
Leaks out of the local economy.
Precisely. Drained away before it can really circulate.
How does that happen?
Well, the research gets really specific here. One major factor is the way many luxury resorts operate, particularly the all-inclusive ones.
Right, where everything's included in the price.
Exactly. And while they offer incredible comfort, they often function as these kind of isolated economic bubbles.
Isolated? How so?
They're often physically separate, but also economically. The research literally describes them as cut off from local life,
So like a self-contained world.
pretty much.
Hmm.
Everything the guest needs, food, drinks, souvenirs, tours, it's all provided inside the resort.
Which means...
Which means first, they often hire very few local workers
Hmm.
and often only for lower skilled jobs.
Right.
And second, crucially, it stops tourists from spending money in nearby towns or villages.
Because they don't need to leave the resort.
Exactly. That money that could have gone to a local restaurant, a craft market, a small guest house, it just stays within the resort's walls, a complete disconnect.
That makes sense. But it sounds like there's more to it than just the all-inclusive model.
Oh, definitely. It's not just about the isolation. It's also very much about who owns these places.
Ownership, right.
The study found that even many of the really high-profile eco-lodges, the ones with the green credentials,
Yeah.
many were foreign-owned, predominantly.
And that matters because...
It hugely impacts where the money flows. Think about it. A big chunk of what the tourist pays. It might go straight to an overseas travel agency that booked the trip.
Before it even gets to the country.
Sometimes, yes. Or think about the food. To cater to international tastes, they often rely on food imports.
Instead of buying from local farmers?
Right. And then the biggest piece, the profits. A large portion is often repatriated abroad,
Sent back home.
sent back to the owners or investors overseas,
Hmm.
instead of staying in the local economy to build wealth or create more jobs or, pay local taxes properly.
So the money comes in, hits the resort, and then a lot of it just flows right back out again.
Exactly. Economists call it leakage. It's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. A lot just drains away.
That paints a really stark picture. And leakage isn't just some abstract term, is it? It has real impacts on people.
Absolutely. When profits are concentrated among foreign companies or maybe a tiny local elite,
While most tourism jobs pay very little.
it deepens inequality. It doesn't just widen the gap. It can actually make existing divisions worse.
And that must cause friction.
Huge friction. It's fueling significant tensions on the ground. You see communities starting to really push back.
It makes sense. If you're not seeing the benefits, only the downside.
And the wealth is so visibly concentrated, it breeds resentment, especially when it starts affecting things like land access.
Land access. That brings us to a really current example, doesn't it?
It does. Very current.
Our sources say just last week, a local activist actually filed a lawsuit.
That's right, in Kenya, trying to block the opening of a new Ritz-Carlton,
A Ritz-Carlton safari lodge. In the Maasai Mara, no less.
the height of luxury. We're talking plunge pools and personalized butler service.
Wow. In one of the most famous wildlife reserves in the world.
And this specific fight, it's really just the latest flashpoint in ongoing conflicts across East Africa's grasslands.
Flashpoint. Like a symptom of a bigger issue.
Exactly. It highlights this growing tension between luxury tourism's expansion and the traditional communities.
Like the Maasai Herbers?
Precisely. They're becoming increasingly vocal, saying this kind of development is directly harming their habitats and ways of life.
They're grazing lands.
Crucial grazing lands for their cattle, yes. But it's more than that. Their whole nomadic, pastoralist culture is tied to that land.
So losing access isn't just economic, it's cultural.
Existential.
Deeply existential. It threatens their identity, their heritage, their survival. The land and the cattle are central to everything.
That's powerful. And you said this isn't just one isolated case.
Not at all. This is a pattern we're seeing repeatedly.
Where else?
Well, elsewhere in Kenya, locals frequently complain about what they call land grabs by wealthy investors.
Prime land being snapped up for tourism.
Often, yes. Pushing up people with long-standing, maybe informal rights to that land, it gets commodified very quickly.
And in Tanzania, the situation there has been even more severe. There have been protests, really serious ones, against the eviction of tens of thousands of Maasai.
Tens of thousands. Evicted for what?
To make way for hunting lodges and other tourist concessions.
And that led to?
Tragically, it led to deadly clashes with police, real violence over resources and rights.
That's awful.
It is. And you see related issues popping up elsewhere, too, like residents near Tsavo National Park wanting free access, feeling shut out.
Or debates about how revenue from Amboseli Park should benefit Kajiado County.
Exactly. They're all connected. Communities feeling increasingly marginalized by this high-end tourism boom happening on lands they consider theirs.
So wrapping this up then, what does this all mean for, for us listening, whether we're planning a trip or just interested in global development?
Well, I think this deep dive really shows that the glossy surface of luxury tourism, it can hide some pretty serious challenges.
Challenges and injustices for the people who actually live there.
Right. It's a stark reminder that development isn't always equitable. Good intentions don't always lead to good outcomes on the ground.
It really encourages us to look past the advertising, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Look beyond the brochures, the slick marketing. When we hear terms like ecotourism or sustainable travel,
Yeah, I need to ask tougher questions.
we do. Critical questions like, who is really benefiting here, beyond the hotel owners and the tourists?
Where does the money actually end up? How much stays local?
And crucially, at what cost? What's the human cost, the environmental cost, for the local communities and their way of life?
It's about peeling back the layers, understanding the full story.
The full, sometimes uncomfortable story, not just the curated version.
It definitely makes you think, maybe next time any of us see something labeled sustainable or high value,
Pause for a second.
yeah, pause and wonder,
Mm.
are the benefits really reaching the people who call that beautiful place home, or is it mostly flowing elsewhere?
It's a vital question, especially if we care about responsible travel, responsible development, ensuring luxury doesn't come at the expense of local dignity and livelihoods.
A really important perspective. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.